never know. You never know.
I've explained this before, but videos for us, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, it's a really bad ROI, return on investment, when you're talking about personally out-of-pocket funding videos. And what would you say a quality video cost if you do it like the full setup with crew? And
I'd say a minimum full crew quality video minimum is like $20K.
Yeah, minimum.
Like you're talking like a crew of like 10 to 15 people.
And like not much moving,
not much going on.
One
day shoot, not much going on.
And no one does that. Really, like I was gonna say more around the 35 to 50 grand.
Just to put in perspective, and I just know this just from like asking around and hearing from people, but like the dude, Arizona Zervas, he had the Roxanne record. Song. They said that video costs upwards of like $300K.
Yeah.
And I watched it, and like it's by no means a bad video. It's a great video, but you watch it and you're like, this was $300,000.
If I pulled Arizona to the side, because I know the kid. He used to Arizona.
No, I know him too.
Yeah, he's opened some of our shows. He used to be a big supporter of mine.
He opened like the Baltimore shows.
Yeah,
right?
But I mean, he used to be front row at a bunch of my shows when there were like 200-person shows,
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's weird. I should have him on the podcast.
He was a patron of Jon Kilmer Studios as well.
Yeah, you shot a video for him. Yeah. He opened shows. Mm-hmm. And then he had a hit record, and he's actually doing really well. Like, I think he's a great artist. Yeah. I remember hearing one of his freestyles way back in the day. Like, he was kind of doing the same thing I was doing, like just rapping to the camera about sports shit, like.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he can rap, So, not surprised at all. Roxanne is an interesting example because it's such a mega smash song, and that song, I'm pretty sure he made that song independently, did the deal after the song was out.
Did the deal with Columbia afterwards.
They took the song to the moon.
Yes.
Extremely lucrative song just based off streams and playing on the radio. Song was everywhere. So interesting example, might be a bit of an outlier example because like when you have a song that big, it actually makes sense to do a video.
To do a $300,000 video.
Yeah, it does make sense. But let me put it in perspective. Like they put 300,000 into that video. I guarantee you they put at least 300, maybe 500,000 behind the song.
Just the marketing.
Promotionally, marketing, radio, Spotify, all that shit. It's all paid to play, Like the song has to be great.
Yeah.
And for it to have legs, the song was already incredibly catchy, So no shade at him, and it's actually all good business. But if I were to say, hey man, you could shoot this for 50. A lot of the artists don't understand is like that's all recoupable from the label, And again, an outlier example, probably a bad example because that song brought so much money in that it's worth it, But my point is, from my perspective, I don't put any money behind my songs, right? So if I were to spend 40 grand on a video, number one, our YouTube's our smallest thing. It's ironic because we started in YouTube. That's how we got our start. But halfway through my career, or 3-4 years into my career, streaming. The entire music industry changes. Goes from
YouTube to Spotify and Apple.
Well, all it was YouTube and iTunes.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, Spotify, all this streaming, the whole game changes.
YouTube visuals were the only way to stream music back then.
Right, yeah, stream, exactly.
Stream.
And then you could buy
Not
songs.
buy and listen, just stream.
Right, and think about how crazy that is.
That's
Think
crazy.
about how normalized streaming is.
That's why YouTube was so important.
That's how fucking long we've been doing this. Because for the first 2-3 years, like YouTube was our avenue. And that made a lot of sense from an entrepreneurial standpoint. You know what I mean? Like, this was our avenue. This is where,
Let's back up even further. Think about back in a time when there was a rotation of videos on MTV.
Oh yeah.
All the way up until probably like the early 2000s.
That was it. MTV was the Bible.
And that was it. You shot a music video, and videos were actually very important because you'd get
huge.
You get on TRL, you get cycled on MTV.
Made tons of sense to spend a bunch of money on a video.
And they were spending way more money back then. I mean, I think the most expensive video back then was like a Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson collab video. They spent like $10 million budget.
Yeah.
And that was like unheard of. But it was Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson.
Right.
And that was getting, on MTV on the hour, every hour.
Reaching millions.
For weeks.
Reaching millions.
Being
programmed to millions, not people finding it.
Yeah.
Being programmed, that's a big discrepancy. Now we're in a day and age, yes, there's some programming, but more or less, like, people are finding what they want to find. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many ways of finding and hearing music that, like, So,
well, and to put it in perspective, you look at now, the people who are spending the most on videos, I read an article about Taylor Swift's Wildest Dreams video. That was like one of the first $1 million videos in a long time.
Yeah.
And you watch that one, there's like fucking safari animals and fucking Scott Eastwood is in it, like co-starring, and it's like all this like crazy scenery.
It was shot over weeks of time, and
Yeah.
like a smaller movie.
So to put it in perspective, like the biggest videos 20, 30 years ago, $10 million. Now, the biggest videos are like $1 million.
And another point is like, for huge artists who create our cash cows for the labels, that also makes sense for them to do big videos and spend money, because these are the cash cows. Like, you need to continue to create the highest level content that could reach as many people, and now we're in the day and age of like looking for viral ability and shit. But these are people that you don't necessarily look at ROI and you're like, ooh, this video got streamed, let's say a crazy number like 1 billion times, right? Like some big videos. The ROI is still not gonna, it might not, add up. They might not make $1 million on that 1 billion streams of the video, but that cash cow artist is making so much money in all the other avenues of her business.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The term for that is brand equity.
Yeah.
So brand equity means like, what that video influence had on the people who watched it.
Right.
And the money that generated from that influence.
Right.
And I think that's where we kind of struck gold over the years, is the brand equity that stemmed from the visuals, because it got people to go to tour, it got people to get.
And that's how I look at the podcast.
Right.
That's how I look at all the things we do. So it's the same idea.
Yep.
But back to my original point, for us, the return on investment for a video, when I sit back and I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, this is a streaming world we're living in. You know what I mean? This is where my money, my biggest avenues are my biggest following by far isn't on social media, it's on the streaming platforms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Across Spotify and Apple, I have 6 million monthly listeners. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's two. There's others. So it's probably closer to like 8 million monthly listeners, not followers, but listeners. So that's where my biggest revenue is as a businessman, but also that's where my focus is, making a bunch of great music that I can continue to build a catalog, which, zoom out now and it's a multi-million-dollar catalog, you know what I mean? But it's taken years.
Yeah.
But back to the video, I'm not putting any money behind those songs, right? So for me to make a $50,000 video, and think about all the songs we have.
Well,
right?
you're the bank in this situation.
I am the bank.
You're
right?
the bank, which is rare.
Which is very rare.
Yeah.
But yes and no, because the artist is still the bank. They're just not fronting the money. That's why these labels fucking own most of these artists. Because we'll cough up the money.
It's a loan, which is,
it's a loan
is the
with
bank.
Worst interest than any bank would ever give you. The worst interest rates any bank would ever give you.
Hands down.
So I'm looking at all this shit. I'm like, well, I see through the hoopla of it all. Also, I know I'm not putting another 50,000 behind the song. So I'm looking at it objectively, like, oh, most of my listenership is on the streaming platforms. Why would I spend 50,000 on a video that's only gonna get, might get 1 million views in a year or something, like something like that, where I put the song out, it has 1 million in a month or less. You know what I mean? And that's where my actual income's coming from, the real money. The YouTube payout's the worst. So I'm looking at it, and I'm just like, oh, I'm not gonna push this video to new people. I'm not pushing this. I'm not creating a campaign behind that video to spread it, So, and I also don't give a fuck about videos. I'm looking at it as a consumer. I'm fans of XYZ, Weeknd, Drake, Future, all these guys. I don't give a fuck about their videos.
Right.
I like the songs, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And granted, there are a lot of people that like videos, and that's cool. But another factor is like, you know me, you'd be the first to attest to this. Like, I hate posing. I hate fucking saying, all right, everyone shut up. When the camera's everyone, you act this and you do this and just have girls and do this and money and cars.
It has to be as authentic as possible.
I mean, I'm probably the most.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even, we had a video shoot the other day and a bunch of people come over and I was like, just fucking film it. Like, just film it. We're fucking making food and drinking and there's girls and you just end up chasing around bitches the whole time anyway. So it's like, really at the end of the day, like for me, over the span of this time, it's just become so evident to me. I'm just listening to myself too. Like, we pick up videos. You said something just this weekend. This is how I've been thinking for a while. Our whole tone of videos is a vlog.
Yeah.
The music's very outdoorsy, right?
It's like a travel vlog.
It's a travel vlog.
Yeah.
And people are looking at our lifestyle like, yo, how are you guys doing this? One, most people are very jealous. Whenever I tell somebody, they're like, dude, I would love to do that. Like, just live in a place for 2 months, pick up, move somewhere else.
But it's fucking real.
It's real.
Yeah.
It's real, and it's also taxing. Yes, we're like in fucking mansions, right?
Yeah.
But it's taxing on your mind, body. Like, when you don't have a home, you know what I mean? Like, granted, we're doing it at a high level, you know? But when you don't have a home, it's taxing on your body, and like, you can't have a routine. But I look at it as like, one, our life experience is so high, and two, like the podcast, the videos, right? I'm not spending any money on the videos. So this is a moving set. That is the money. Like, so me paying rent, this crazy premium rent I'm paying on these places, those video expenses are in there.
Right.
They're in the rent. You know what I'm saying? I'm not spending a fucking dollar on the video.
But it's parlayed with your quality of life that you're giving yourself.
Exactly. The parlay is there, the experiences, the inspiration, like the Sedona, that inspiration there, like, I just wanted to fucking shoot videos. It wasn't even in the plan. I was just like, man, look at this place, you know? Have to fucking shoot a bunch of shit here. And it's a really cool way of like, I mean, this is so specific to our situation, you know what I mean? The way, like, this lifestyle is so catered to us and what we're doing, but it's been so amazing and it's been so rewarding. And I think the videos, I fucking love the videos now, you know? I'm having fun again. Probably just, I'm having fun again. Thank you, brother. I'm not gonna, thank you, sir. I'm having fun again with the videos, and like, I think it's a really cool vibe. And again, it's that vlog feeling, like the fans are getting a behind the scenes of our lives, you know? And they're seeing right into our lives, and it aligns with everything else we do. And
no one else is really doing that approach.
Especially now, I feel like it's fresh again. You know, like there's no musician doing this, you know?
Yeah. Ending on the music video thing, correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard that Spotify is going to start implementing music videos as part of the stream.
That's fire.
You ready?